contains spoilers for the Netflix show Squid Game, but if you haven't watched it already, like, bruh. So, I've got to be honest with you guys. I'm obsessed with Squid Game. Like, so obsessed, I wrote my most recent blooming media essay on it. And that needs to be handed in, by the way, and marked, and given a grade. Now, because I'm not in a crippling debt, as fun as that might be, I can't play the actual Squid Game. But you know what I could do? Browse this little niche game called Roblox, so we could play it ourselves! And after peer pressuring my mate Robified into joining me on this adventure, we decided to play Squid Game. So we slid into the game where we were greeted with a bunch of beds! And detachment issues, apparently. Robbie, where are you? Where are you? Oh, you've got a very recognizable face, my friend. And while we chose to ignore the fact that we were all apparently player one thing we couldn't ignore was the push mechanic! Oh yeah, and the girl over there. But I mean, look, we can push people. Look at Robbie do a blimmin' backflip over me due to this push mechanic. Like, damn! You all have seen the TikToks or YouTube clips or whatever of this game. Red light, green light. You all know what it is. Run forwards when it's green light. If you move while it's red light, you literally get shot in cold blood. No second chances. Oh, there's also a nice little tune to go along with it too. Do you want to hear it? I know, right? It puts my pathetic Kevin MacLeod sneaky snitch songs to shame. We also decided to point out this fella, who can literally fly! Must be the cameraman, I reckon. So after literally committing murder myself, we made it to the other side without being shot. And to celebrate, we pushed each other a bunch! What fun, I know. So the square guard fella told us that everyone's dead! And then we rushed into a game called Sugar Honeycomb. And we need to cut this cookie by following the lines. Although I must confess, I was quite confused because the game said Sugar Honeycombs, but the guard said Cookie! Make up your damn mind! Not gonna lie though, I did kind of struggle with this one a tad bit. Just because of my Minecraft PvP expertise though. Because I had become so accustomed to self-inflicted hand tremors that at this point it was impossible to keep a steady hand. But either way, both Robbie and I were able to do it. And then, after a pretty easy first 2 games, it was time to go to sleep in a lovely, comfortable amalgamation of sleeping quarters. The square guard fella said to form alliances, which I laughed off, because Robbie and I were already bonded by the push function. Oh yeah, and we all got given baseball bats. This means the next game is baseball, right? Damn, what a nice game. Just kidding, they're murder weapons! And as the lights went out, the detachment issues started again. No, don't hit me with the bat, don't hit me with the bat!
Let's go other people.
I don't know where you are!
I don't know where you are either.
I don't know where you are! And once we found each other, we decided to go kill people. Aside from this flying lad, you know, I think it's just a little bit unfair by the fact that this guy can literally fly! And even when the lights turned back on, we still tried to murder people until the baseball bats were forced out of our hands and we were forced into a game of tug of war. This was literally just a test of how quickly you could click. Which was great for people like me, who spends hours wasting away doing Minecraft 1.8 PvP, but the only skill involved is the ability to click fast. I mean, damn, just listening to those clicking sounds is making me break a sweat. Let's go! Yeah. How are we losing? Oh wait, no, our side is the blue side, never mind.
I think they have more people. I think we have more people using the autoclicker.
Dude, I have to do this within 30 seconds, bro. Come on.
Ah,
dude, people are already falling off. Look at that! That's brutal!
Oh, that was easy.
And with my team's combined power, we forced the other chaps on the other side to fall off. But now was the most tense game. The glass bridge. On each row, one of the glass tiles will fall down when we step on it, and one of them will stay in place when we step on it. Make it to the other side to win. But this guy can fly, so he just unveiled the path for us all to make. Although this did have a flip side. It meant that if I died, that meant that I was bad at Roblox parkour. Not because I had bad luck. But luckily it never came to that, and we all won the game. Now it was time for round 2! Time to play baseball! But replace the ball with poor Robloxians' heads. And the dude was literally just flying and attacking us! It was just Robbie and I with the flying guy. With both of our power, maybe we could kill him. But then I had a genius plan. If we push him and then beat him to death with a baseball bat, we could possibly win. But he was way too speedy, and we didn't kill anyone. Oh yeah, and it wasn't just us and him, because this lad just arrived out of nowhere. And now it was the marbles game, where you're forced into a pair with people, and you have to guess if the other person has got an odd amount of marbles or an even amount of marbles. And I was paired with Robbie. Oh, and by the way, if you guess wrong, you literally die. And we could have told each other how many marbles we had, but we decided against it, because where's the fun in that? And that decision cost my life. And Robbie's, somehow he died even though there was no partner left to play with. So after that defeat, we went back into the Squid Games. Although unfortunately, this one had no push mechanic. It also deviated from the show a ton. Like, it was a budget Squid Game. The beds were even made of wood instead of metal. Like, come on! This game was developed like a mini-game based thing. People would vote for one of the 3 games, red light, green light, shapes, or blood rising. We know what red light, green light is. We weren't entirely sure what shapes would be, though we guessed it would just be the Honeycomb game. But what we were really curious about was blood rising. As there was no minigame called this in the show, by the way, so I suppose the next 10 seconds or so where I show clips of blood rising will be spoiler free! Hooray! So after getting a pumpkin stuck on my head, just in time for the Halloween spirit, we got whisked into a game of blood rising. Do you all remember those corridors? Well, they made the corridors of the show into their own minigame, where, as the name suggests, the room starts filling up with this red substance that we have to get above. If you fall into said red substance, you won't believe this, we perish! I started the game by attempting to do some epic parkour, but failed and was already miles behind everyone else. I sprinted along these lovely corridors and considered doing parkour until I saw the red substance coming up, and I needed to get to the very top of the building by doing even more parkour, and no! You all know this game, right? In fact, I know it so well. Why don't we do a bit of speedrunning? Yeah, red light, green light didn't matter, because I completed it with these. Not entirely sure what Robbie was doing though. He was kind of just like screaming. But now we were in a game of blood rising again, and this time I knew about the parkour and was doing swimmingly until I tried the riskier jumps and then was literally doing swimmingly inside of the red substance. We needed a bit of a break, a bit of an intermission. So we decided to just take a nice calm break and take a little detour to guess the K-pop group. Though we knew nothing about K-pop, and kind of sucked at that anyways. We tried phoning friends.
He's gone.
Hello?
Hi.
Alright, so I'm playing, guess the K-pop member on Roblox. What K-pop, like, people do you know? We begged people to carry us, but we only won when Robbie decided to reverse image search every single band. So after our brief break from murder, we re-entered the Squid Game. Although this Squid Game, like, I don't remember Squid Game having blooming sponsors, crates, boots, sponsorships. You know who this Squid Game video should be sponsored by? Me! And I'll tell you right now that you have green light to go and hit that subscribe button. So after being dumbfounded by the fact that our legs literally started folding into our own bodies, we registered for the games. I was number 4 and Robbie was number 27. We strolled through these big open doors, snapped a quick photo, and then had flashbacks to the rising blood minigame. Don't worry though, there's no death in these corridors. Well, actually I'm not entirely sure. Neither Robbie or I had the guts to find out what happens if that timer hits 0. So I bet you won't be able to guess what game we were about to play. Red light, green light. Again. I said at the start of the video that I was obsessed. I retract that statement. I'm sick and tired of this girl. And she doesn't even sing the song either! It's just boring English! But of course, I strolled past it with ease. So after getting a stitch from the amount of stairs we climbed, we arrived at the next game. We were genuinely quite curious as to how they do the Honeycomb game here. That it was practically the same thing as before. And I was lucky enough to get a square. Though Robbie had a star! But we both made it through. And now the prize pool had amounted to the funny number! Let's go! And it was now nighttime. Time to go to sleep. Wait, what? Oh, there's blood on the floor. Alright, this guy told us to fight. So like before, I found Robbie, who was encased in a bloodbath, and we decided to team up for the sole purpose of killing our fellow companions. But our punches were so weak we didn't actually do any damage, and everyone lived. I know, I'm just as disappointed as you are. But now, it was our time for tug of war. We'd randomly be assigned teams to play with, and we'd have to pull as hard as we could. But it was here, Robbie and I would have to part ways. We were put on opposing teams, and we had to pull as hard as we could. Only one of us could make it out alive, and I was determined to make sure that it was me. I slammed my spacebar so hard, the amount of force I produced could have powered an entire Mega City for a month. But Robbie pressed the spacebar faster and survived. He was able to proceed to the next game, while I died. The next game for Robbie was the Marbles game. This game, however, didn't include any sort of pairing up with people. It was just guessing against the computer. Something Robbie somehow failed at. But we weren't having that. We'd stop at nothing to win the Squid Games, and so we re-entered the games, and rushed all the way back up to Tug of War. And by luck of content creation, Robbie and I were placed on the same team, so by breaking our keyboards even more, we both made it out alive. Robbie, having previously played the Marbles game, deduced that it wasn't random, and betted 3 of his marbles on even. I followed what he did because quite frankly I hadn't gotten this far before. And it worked! So we repeated that over and over again, until we were safe and we won. And after a quick intermission of more murder, we arrived at the 5th game, which is where you jumped across glass, and died again. Nice. But we were getting a tad bit fed up, so we decided that the next time we entered the Squid Games would be the final time. We strolled into a cyberpunk version of Red Light, Green Light, and then, do you remember those other games? Yeah, we completely skipped them and got thrown right into the Glass Stepping Stones game. But unlike the show, there were an absolute behemoth amount of us in line! As each person bravely jumped onto each platform, I realised people could just simply jump past me. So by doing this strategy, I let everyone around me fall first, before everyone else also adopted my strategy. And we were now all merged into this behemoth of everyone who doesn't want to rush forwards. It was here that we started to have problems. The chat started tricking people into jumping on the wrong platforms. They started trying to trick people into jumping ahead of us, but I wasn't having any of it. I wasn't going to risk my life at all. I wanted to win that incredible $69. Despite everyone's begging, I didn't move an inch. Death after death, until we shuffled our way to the last glass steps. Then, I took my chance and jumped myself. And then I won! Let's go! Oh, and then we were thrown into an endless cycle of red light, green light, for frick's sake.